Today we're going to work on the word inferences and how to draw inferences in literature. So what is making inferences? Well, making inferences involves using personal experiences, maybe perhaps some background knowledge, along with the information from the text, to make assumptions about what is not written. In other words, you're looking for clues. You're reading between and beyond the lines. Inferring is required when part of the knowledge to understand a passage is found in the text, but not all of the information is there. So how do we make inferences? Well, first of all, you need to look at the text. You need to combine the plot, the theme, the main idea. The text actually has to be there. You're going to combine the authors and your own questions. If the author is drawing some questions, and if you are drawing some questions about the text. The character is certainly going to help you draw inferences. What are the characters' motives, their actions? What are the characters' feelings that are being expressed? We're also looking for clues in the story, so read around, look for context clues. Once you've got all of these together, you start drawing conclusions as to what might happen next, what the character might do next, what might happen next in the plot line, what the theme or the lesson learned is. All of these are you making an inference. So when we are going to be looking at reading strategies in order to create inferences, the first thing you need to do is to start making connections with the text. As you're reading along, you want to draw yourself in. This particular character reminds me of another character that I've seen or read before. This particular event I think I've heard before in different stories. You ask questions. You ask about situations or statements that might confuse or puzzle us. We ask about the motives of the characters. We try and figure out the meaning of unfamiliar words by using context clues. You ask a lot of questions in order to better understand what you're reading or what you're viewing. And then finally, you start to make predictions. What's going to happen next with the plotline of the story? Then how do those predictions fare with what actually happens? So when we start making inferences, a lot of times it's good to tell students to start writing out sentences with open endings in order for you to fill in the text. So maybe perhaps if you're going to draw an inference, you might be asking, why do you think this? Why do you think the character is going to do this? Why do you think the plotline is going to do this next? How did you know? How did you know the character was about to say this or do this? What probably caused? That would be for the plot line. What probably caused this particular event to happen? What clues led you to believe? Looking at the context clues, the way that it is written, the vocabulary that is used, did that lead you somewhere? How might blank feel about? So if we look at the characters, are the characters helping you draw inferences? What might they be doing next? How are their feelings and motives drawing you to what's coming up next? And then as you're about to make an inference, maybe you might say, I predict, I think that, and my guess is. A lot of times you're going to see vocabulary that's going to make an inference, either in your own writing as you're drawing inferences, or you might even see some of these signal words in the writing itself. Of course, the word infer might give you a clue as to making inferences. Other words would be the words that go along with inferencing, such as clues and thinking. Maybe you're making a guess or you're judging. You might say, I believe, or this probably will happen. I feel this, or the reason why this happened is. And then, of course, if you're drawing a conclusion at the end of the story about the theme, you might see the word happened because it's in the past, or you might see the word conclusion. Inferences are, well, most often open-ended most of the time in a story or informational text, means there's not a solution. Why? Well, a lot of times when you are watching a TV show, reading a chapter in a story, they're usually going to have an open ending. It's not always seen right away, so the reader perhaps needs to reread passages more than once. Say if you're looking at a short story and you've read 4 or 5 paragraphs, you might start drawing inferences about the character, but if you're getting confused and you're starting to ask questions, you might need to go back and learn something, because if you read on, if they did something you weren't expecting, you probably missed an inference along the way. Let's see how you're doing with inferences. Let's see if you can draw your conclusions from the clues that we have. Can you infer what I am? I hear a loud thwack as the ball leaves the ballpark, and the crowd roars with cheers. I have a feeling that is a baseball bat. And the reason why I would know this is that loud thwacking sound on a ball, so it sounds like a ball has been hit with something else. And it talks about a ballpark. So this has got to be some sort of arena, some sort of field that a ball is played upon where the ball is being struck. And the crowd is roaring with cheers. So it sounds like it's a pretty big arena or field with a lot of spectators. So I'm starting to draw inferences about this must be professional sports. What kind of ball is going to make a loud thwack as it literally leaves the ballpark? Well, perhaps a very good ball player has used their baseball bat to hit the ball out of the park. Let's try another one. Can you infer where I am and what I am doing? I see bubbles rising. I hear my own breathing. There are fish swimming above me. I feel the seaweed swaying. Can you infer where I am and what I'm doing? I believe we are a diver. You are diving in the sea, whether or not you are snorkeling or deep sea diving. There's certainly going to be bubbles rising because you are breathing, because you're hearing your own breathing. I'm wondering if we are scuba diving. There are fish swimming above me, so I'm definitely underwater, and I'm quite a bit of a way underwater because I'm feeling the seaweed swaying, and the seaweed is possibly growing from out under the ground, so I bet I'm scuba diving. Context clues that help me were the seaweed swaying. I know I'm underwater. There are fish swimming above me. Again, I am very much underwater. And since I'm thinking I'm hearing my own breathing and seeing bubbles rising, I have a feeling instead of being some fictitious character like a fish, I am a human being and I'm probably deep sea diving or scuba diving. Let's try one more. What can you infer from this statement? Raul always carried his flute with him. So it makes me think that Raul definitely likes playing his flute. Maybe he is very practiced. He likes playing in a band or an orchestra. Raul is a musician of some sort, whether it's a student musician or professional. If he is always carrying his flute with him, that is a very important piece of his life. So what am I using to infer? I see the word always. He always has to have his instrument with him. So I feel that this flute is extremely important to him, maybe for his job, maybe for a passion, a hobby that he has. So when Raul always carries his flute with him, I definitely know he is a musician of some sort. What can you infer about Denise's mother? After Denise broke her trophy, her mother turned and walked away without saying a word. So a trophy is something that you have to work hard in order to earn. Now, we don't know how she earned it. Maybe she earned it in a spelling contest. Maybe she earned it at a soccer event. Who knows? But Denise must have worked quite hard for it. And after she broke it, her mother didn't seem to be upset. Her mother didn't seem to say that she wanted to help. She just turns and walks away without saying a word. Maybe perhaps whatever Denise did for winning that trophy, mother didn't approve of. Maybe Denise, when she broke her trophy, she did not want her trophy anymore. She decided she is done with whatever event this particular trophy she won for, and her mother was kind of supportive of that. So if Denise wanted to break her trophy, Mom doesn't need to repair it or scold her for it. She just walks away. What other piece I could think of is, I don't know exactly if this is even Denise's trophy. Maybe Denise broke mother's trophy. After Denise broke her trophy, her mother. So I might even infer or have a clue that perhaps Denise broke her mother's trophy. But mother does not seem concerned about that. She just turns and walks away without saying a word. Maybe perhaps even Denise's mother is so angry and upset at the broken trophy that she doesn't want to explode, she doesn't want to yell, she doesn't want to fight with Denise. She just walks away so her anger is not taken out on Denise. Lastly, if you're going to be reading in order to make inferences, it's usually good to make some notes, just so you have some context clues to help you as you read. So usually when I tell my students we're going to be doing inferences, I give them a graphic organizer. And so first of all, you're going to want to look at the context clues, what it says. And so perhaps you might write down the actual notes. What was the phrase or the sentence that is provided? Next, what are you going to say? Why do you believe that there are some sort of clues or some background knowledge in this particular sentence? Why did you choose this evidence? And lastly, what is the inference? What is the new idea that you can conclude from what you understand and from the text itself? So a lot of times I give my students the graphic organizer. It says, provide the quote. I say, why did you choose this evidence? And so, what is the inference? Thanks so much for stopping by to learn about making inferences. If you liked what you see, please leave a comment and let me know what else you'd like to learn. If you are enjoying this channel, I'd appreciate it if you could subscribe. Thanks for stopping by.